Sometimes the episodes name themselves. Other times the episode name is so obvious that you just have to do something with it. And I get it. We're halfway through the season, so we're halfway there. I got to try and work something in through Living on a Prayer, but I just don't have the creativity today, guys. I'm sorry. So that's why we're something Bon Jovi, because I couldn't come up with a fun play on words for Living on a Prayer or anything like that I've probably already used in previous years. So we're just going to go with this. But we have hit the halfway point of the season, 8 games in, made it through the doubleheader phase of the season, I do believe. So now we have a pretty clear idea of where each team is lining up right now. And we got to figure out who's separated, who's still contenders, and who else who hasn't already started trying to tank for the future should maybe consider starting. But you got Vikings and you've got Eagles. I've heard rumors that Broncos may be joining us along with maybe one or two other teams. So it should be a good conversation and good pod. So RJ, thanks for being here and being here on time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always fun to talk about our disappointing season, I guess.
I mean, we were both kind of like not, I'd say, offended's the wrong word in this league. I don't think anyone's ever really offended at this point. I think we've all grown up enough as fantasy football players that even like terrible offers or comments or stuff like that aren't going to be like, oh my God, this person's an asshole. But, we were both a little surprised by Lions' rankings for us in terms of where he had us and where he had us finishing, and thought, this is definitely wrong. We're definitely going to do better than this. And then I am living up to my 1-7 record and one of the worst teams in the NFC, and you've joined me in the basement. But and then, of course, you have the Commanders, who are living up to their billing as one of the best teams in the NFC as they begin running away with the NFC East. So maybe there's something to this whole stats thing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pay more attention to that this offseason. Maybe you can give us some rookie rankings.
Yeah.
On the contrary, it said I had a 0.01% chance of making the playoffs last year. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, but I think you have a slightly better chance this year going into week 5. But
just slightly.
Plus, considering where the injury bug is hitting, you haven't been immune, but it's been definitely a different kind of season for you. But
yes, it's hitting in all the right places.
Yeah, we'll just kind of go through the results from last week real quick. Like I said, apologies in advance because this does have a bit of a weird order because obviously it puts my games on top. Some pretty close results. Pats beating the Ravens by 12 as they were looking to try and go 2-0 and pick up a game on the Jets. Unfortunately, I picked up one because the Raiders popped 270. So Pats going 1-1. I think that meant that the Raiders went 2-0 as they not just beat the Pats, but almost lapped the Texans by 100 points. Jets and Bengals, high scoring affair, both teams over 200, but Bengals popping 263 despite no Burrow still. So continuing their march towards potential repeat. Let's see, what other were the close games? Browns and Jags. Jags showing up with about 228 points to Browns 254. So despite the loss, pretty good showing from the Jags. Had no trouble beating the Broncos by a cool 200. Continuing down, Chiefs picking up the easy win over the Titans, but with only 170 points scored, gets beat by the Jets in a game that, probably thought the Jets were going to lose going into the weekend. So Jets going 1-1 in a week that really was going to test them. Not the worst result that they could have had. Game of the week, possibly. Cowboys and Cardinals. Cowboys 269 to Cardinals 248. So about a 21-point win for the Cowboys, starting to separate themselves as a real wild card contender. Giants picking up some easy wins over me and the 49ers, despite losing Neighbors for the season. So has to figure out how he's going to pivot going from there. Commanders, of course, picking up the important win over the Lions. So he is keeping pace with the Seahawks at 8-0 as the class of the NFC. Lions beating the Buccaneers by 21, holding on to his lead of the division in the North and continuing to push the Bucs to the bottom of the NFC South. You had the Panthers split, losing to the Seahawks and beating the Packers, so maintains his position on top of the NFC South. However, the Saints are gaining, actually not gaining, split as well, with a win over me and a loss to the Cardinals. Looked close going into Monday night, and then Darren Waller decides to actually show up for the first time this season, despite his 30% snap share, and pick up 2 touchdowns. So everything's coming up Saints, but it still wasn't enough to beat the Cardinals. So after all that, we have the Bengals at 8-0 and Browns at 7-1, Steelers at 6-2 as the class of the North. Ravens have fallen off to 3-5. AFC South is exactly what we thought it would be at the beginning of the year. Jags are 4-4. Texans are 3-5. The Titans, despite coming into the season building for the future and scoring only 400 points so far, are only 2 games out of the division lead. So that could be an interesting thing to watch the second half to see, because sometimes Luigi does like to get frisky. See if he decides to throw his hat in the ring. Colts, though, no. 0-8, good job by you. Jets still up 2 games in the East, and the Pats are ready to throw it in the towel. So again, looks like he's going to walk away with that. Chargers and Chiefs are tied with the Raiders at 5-3 at the top of the AFC West. So holy shit, we have a race. And actually the Raiders have scored close to 80 points more than the Chiefs so far this season. So anyone who thought this was going to be a shoo-in and just Goose walking away with the division, not so fast, my friend. Speaking of walking away with the division, the Bears decided to not necessarily let the Lions completely get away. They are 3 games back of the Lions right now, where Packers and I are maintaining our 5-game disadvantage. Mentioned Panthers were still leading the South, with the Saints in close competition at 5-3. NFC East is still the class of the NFC right now at 8-0 for the Commanders, 6-2 for the Giants, and 5-3 for the Cowboys. And then the Cardinals hanging in the wild card in the NFC West, with the Seahawks, of course, at 8-0, and the team it seems to beat in sort of overall one of 3 teams over 1,000 points so far. So we've got a bit of a full house now. We've got the Commanders and, of course, the Broncos who have joined us. Anything that you guys see in jumping through the results that really either surprised you or jumped out to you this week?
I told you guys the West was going to be a race in preseason rankings. I told you it was going to be a race. It is shock. The thing that shocks me about that is that Raiders has the most points out of it. But yeah, win-loss record I'm not surprised by.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are also dealing with the injury bug, much like the Giants over the last couple of weeks. So they've had, Darnell Mooney, Leggett, Jalen Warren, all sitting out the last week or two. Ed Oliver's been out for 2 weeks. So much of the same case there. He's going to have to find a way to pivot or and gain assets for those injured players, or just deal with the consequences.
I'll tell you some surprise situations that could end up being pretty beneficial for some of these teams. I think early in the season, before it started, Raiders was actively trying to move Rattler for something, just to get value of the player, probably before what looked like Show taking over. Now, Rattler has been playing well enough that he can absolutely hold the line, not even close to what Lamar normally does. But if you're looking for an injury fill-in, that's not the worst situation to be in, especially if Lamar is going to miss 2 to 4 weeks. Just lucky for Raiders that it didn't happen at all during the double headers. But considering his upcoming schedule, he's got Tennessee this week. He's got the Eagles next week, the Chargers in week 7. If he can hang on these next 3 weeks with Rattler and go 3-0 through this run, that Chargers is going to be an important game before he goes up against the Commanders. I think the last estimate I saw was 2 to 4 weeks for Lamar. Spencer could get him kind of where he needs to be for Lamar to come back at the right time.
You don't believe in Cooper Rush?
I'm not going to answer that question.
No, I think that the bigger question for Raiders with the quarterbacks is, does Spencer hold the job until week 8 to get through the bye week?
I think he does. I don't think he's done anything to lose the job, which is really the question right now. It's not a matter of Tyler Shaw winning it. It's just does Rattler lose it?
Right, but like at some point you got to do what the Browns did. You got to pull the trigger and you got to see what you got in the rookies.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, what's the benefit? Rattler's a second-year plaar, so I think they're still feeling him out.
The benefit is you see if you wasted a second-round pick or not.
So to your point, at some point Shaw's going to get a chance, whether it's this year or otherwise. But I think the real truth of the matter is the Saints haven't been losing games because of their offense.
Right.
They've been losing games because their defense can't stop anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Rattler's at least put a reasonable product in the field. I feel like the Saints have been around 20 points a game. And if you're scoring that, you're not going to get yourself replaced. The Browns can't say that for their offense. Like it's been a shit show. The defense has kept them in games and 1-1 for them, but it's not working with Flacco right now. So there's only so many times you can go back to that well with Joe Flacco before you realize, no, this is a terrible, terrible idea, and move on to the next thing. And with both Gabriel and Sanders, they've got to figure this out. And I think, people might be surprised by the order. A lot of folks probably having Sanders ahead of Gabriel in the preseason. But, I can't fault them for this. They took Gabriel first in the draft. They had him, I guess, higher on their quarterback board. And, he's going to get the first shot here to replace Flacco. I guess the question is going to be, how long is that leash going to be? Is it going to be one game? If it's bad, Sanders comes in. If Sanders then struggles to go back to Gabriel, what's going to be the sort of week-to-week quarterback situation? And one more point I will say is I do enjoy how Myles Garrett said, we need to have a plan so I know I've got a chance to win a Super Bowl here or else I'm going to request a trade. And then ownership explained a plan to him, and he felt good enough to sign on the dotted line and stay long-term. And I'm just would love to hear if this was actually the plan that was discussed, or, dude, just be quiet. We're going to give you a shitload of money.
Of course it was the plan. His plan was to always be a losing member of the Browns, but get an extra $10 million a year. He got his plan went full throttle. He did exactly what he did. That defense is incredible, though. I can't believe how good they are.
Look, they had some pretty good pieces, too. Their second-round pick, Carson Schweizinger, been pretty impressive so far.
The
Mason
youth
Brown
of that team is
has
crazy.
been showing up well. They've got some depth line players. Again, they just continue to get better there. And then they've got the Jags pick next year, which looked a whole lot better a couple of weeks ago. But now real-life Jags might try and make that go in the teens to 20s if they're not careful. Sorry, this was a hell of a diversion from, is Spencer Rattler going to hang on to week 8? So, my opinion is I don't see them replacing him right now. I think they'll continue to work Miller and Kamara, try and figure out what the heck they have with their receivers with Rattler, and then if they're just not picking up wins or something like that. I guess is Allen on the hot seat? Is it still Dennis Allen there? Who's the coach of the Saints?
No, it's not Allen anymore, right?
Where in the Saints?
Saints.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
right, Kellen Moore.
Or Ellen Moore, as his owner called him at his press conference.
Oh God.
I mean,
you can't make
is
this
Rattler playing bad or
No, he's not. He's
the
got
Saints
five.
just suck?
He's got 5 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Right.
He's not the problem, but he's not the solution. It seems like either.
Yeah, he is playing dead on to be the 33rd best quarterback. He is trying to become the heir apparent to Josh Dobbs, the astronaut. It's
I think he has a future of a solid backup / bridge quarterback.
it's he and Jake Browning are auditioning for the same job right now, and he's doing a shitload of a better job than Jake is. So like he is going to find himself, whether it be in New Orleans or somewhere else, getting signed to a 3-year, $35 million contract to back somebody up who's either really good or because they're intending to spend a top 5 pick on Arch Manning or one of the guys coming out this year. And it's, hey, we need you that can be replacement level. So our guy has to either beat you to show that he's ready or to, protect him while we let him develop.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Right.
Because, I forget which one of the commentators said it this weekend, but it's something that the Packers do pretty much better than anybody is when they spend a premium pick on a quarterback, they make damn sure he's ready. Even if that means, hey, yeah, we could probably let Rodgers walk and he's being a major headache and a major pain in the ass. But we need one more year for Love to sit and learn the offense before he's going to take this over. So just deal with it.
And I am surprised more teams haven't started to follow that model of sitting the rookie quarterback for at least, 2 years, because it seems to work for the Packers. So,
well, it's every team wants to be. What was it like the Commanders from last year? Like, oh man, we've got a guy. We're only paying $7 million to a quarterback who has got us to the conference championship, so we can spend $200 million on everything else. But then it actually has to work, and you have to hit that sweet spot of cheap quarterback, skilled players everywhere else, and usually a 3rd or 4th place schedule. Now the Commanders have a 1st or 2nd place schedule in their division that they're struggling with, and everyone's hurt. So, it's
right. So you're forfeiting a few years of that cheap contract by doing that. So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. But to your point, hey, would you rather get 4 years where they're struggling for 1 or 2 and then finally maybe start to get in year 3 or 4? Or would you rather take them being, call it above average to mediocre in year 3 and getting it in year 4? Like that was the question with Love is he came out in year 3 and wasn't fantastic. And then year 4, it's like, well, do you give him the 5th-year option? Do you figure something else out? And they signed him to kind of a compromise contract, and he was worth it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the divisions right now. We've got, like I said, the North. We got 8-0, 7-1, 6-2. Bengals, Browns, Steelers. Bengals look. I'd say they should be shoo-ins for the playoffs, but realistically, you have Chargers and Raiders still very much alive. It's going to be, kind of like last year, where 3 of these teams are going to make it, and one's going to be left holding the bag, and it's going to suck to be them. But to your point, I wouldn't count out Raiders from anybody.
I apologize. I was a little bit checked out on that last part. Were you asking me a question?
I was asking anybody a question. I got 4 other people on the podcast as I'm talking about the other divisions of the wild card. I'll leave it open ended. Like, what do we think about the AFC? And you're like, oh, yeah, I'm checked out.
No, I apologize.
I think there's quite a few teams in this 5-3 kind of 900 point range, myself included, that kind of are, they want to, I don't know, they want to make moves, but they're a little hesitant. They're a little unsure of what's going to happen. Like for me, I feel like I want to make moves, but if things don't go right, then now I'm not going to make the playoffs, and I've lost, a lot of assets or picks or what have you. I tried to talk to Raiders once or twice about making moves, and he seems pretty set on his team. So,
well, I mean, the other issue here is that most of the picks are consolidated into just a handful of teams, so it's very difficult to make moves right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, and again, it's currency seems to be out there to be able to do some of these things. It's the first year I can remember that it's a very similar situation where you've got 2 or 3 teams that have really separated themselves in each division. And then you have, I'll call it 4 wild card teams on each side, or one's going to fall out. Look, somebody's going to have to win the South in the AFC, just like, someone's going to win the South in the NFC. Granted, that second team might actually make the playoffs in the NFC, but not so much in the AFC. You're going to get 3 teams out of the North, and barring a major turnaround, that other team's not going to be the Ravens, but they still do have an interesting enough smorgasbord of things that they could really impact who else is going to go from the AFC.
Yeah.
But to your point, a 5-3 team is probably going to be the odd man out. Right now, it's looking like the Raiders. But again, we just talked about how they should have 2 pretty straightforward wins the next 2, and then a very important game against the Chargers that if they win, they are dead heat in the West and right in line with the other 3-6-2 teams.
Yeah, Ravens is definitely the treasure trove right now. He's got everything you could ask for to go and hunt for if you are willing to pay the price. The AFC South is going to have a sub 500 division winner, 8-9. Don't know which one it's going to be, but it's definitely going to be 8-9.
There's a lot of people that would kill to be in that division right now.
Sure. But you know what? I think that the biggest thing for me, I don't know how to feel about Steelers making the playoffs because I want it to happen, but I also love seeing the streak of him not making it, even though he's an amazing team, continue. So I'm very conflicted with that. But otherwise, the AFC is pretty clear cut, I think.
Yeah, and again, it's trying to find that win. Like I'm just looking at schedules now. Cowboys, since you're here, I'll use you as an example here. I see 4 pretty straightforward wins still on your schedule between me and Broncos the next 2 weeks. Eagles are on there, and then the Dolphins are on there.
Yeah.
So you getting the 9 wins is a pretty, I won't say foregone conclusion, but a pretty high percentage of that happening.
That was the goal this week. Was if I came out 5-3, then I'm almost certainly going to be 7-3 over the next 2 weeks, which was big. If I would have lost to Cardinals, then it would have been a little bit of a different story. But
so you have the tiebreakers on Cardinals, and the Cardinals have during that same stretch Panthers. They have the Texans. They've got probably wins over the Titans and 49ers and Colts, but they probably have 3 or 4 wins there with Rams probably building or trying to just shift towards the rebuild. Texans not exactly being the strongest. Jags not being the strongest. Steelers and Cards. So that's probably a 9 or 10 win team there too. Giants have to pick up 3 more wins. Like this is just going to be. I'm starting to feel nervous for you now. The more that I look at this, guys. Like this is going to come down to a couple of games. Like
yes, it's it's going to be pretty close between, probably three teams, 4 teams, maybe.
Yeah, like Giants have a game up on you, and are going to get the Broncos, the Bills, and the Eagles. So those are 3. But then, Bears, you can't really call that a toss-up, but, who knows? Man. And then yes, the Saints again, just everything just keeps coming up Millhouse for that guy. Dak Prescott's at 90 points and has been crushing it. Still 2 running backs under double digits so far, and yet is 5-3 or 6-2. George Pickens picking him up at the right time, right before he explodes for 40 points. I definitely could have used that. That definitely was a nice little revenge game against me. Getting the 17.7 points out of Waller for the 2 touchdowns, even though he only ran 30% of the routes. Just he's been getting the right things at the right time. Guess kind of looking at his schedule going forward here. He's got Rams, Pats, Bucks, Dolphins, Falcons, Bills, Jets, Colts, Panthers. Wow. You're all going to end up with 10 wins. This is insane.
I know. I've been looking at it too. Yeah, it's going to be real close.
So then don't worry about the record. Worry about your total points. Buy your points.
Yep, exactly.
That's where this is going to have to go. Go to the Ravens. Buy his points. He doesn't need them.
Yep.
Yeah, you have 100 points on the Saints right now. That's where you got to find the.
I already bought from Ravens once, so we'll see.
This is where overpays come into play.
That's exactly right.
This is gonna be fun. Commanders are sitting back there. Yeah, I'm 8-0. Living the life. Granted, not every decision's a good one, but
8-0. He only has 40 more points than me. Get out of here. 8-0.
Scoreboard. I'm shocked that the Patriots are bowing out so early. Scoring about points, talking about points for, he's 20 points behind the Jets, but he's got over 100 points more against him. He's only 2 games back. I'm shocked.
He was a team that last minute was decided to push his chips into the table before the season, and it didn't quite go as well as he had hoped. And so, I don't know. I feel like he still could have been competing because the division leader is only 30 points ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, he's bowing out because nobody has a chance to get out of the AFC unless they're in the North.
Yeah, you got 2 1,000-point scorers already in the North, so
that's all it is. It's
pretty much over.
Yeah, he's just recognizing his place. Division winner is great, but whatever for a lot of teams.
Right.
Yeah, and realistically, he's got a bit of a tougher run here too. He's got the Bengals, he's got the Saints, Jets, Buccaneers. He's got the Bills, Falcons, should be wins, but then he ends with Commanders, Panthers, and Dolphins. So he's probably going to pick up the win against the Dolphins and the Bills.
That's 6-4.
So he's probably got 3 more wins. So that's only 7 wins. That's not going to get him there. If, to your point, if he had picked up both wins this week and gotten the Raiders win, been only a game behind the Jets, and then basically could have looked at week 7 as a chance to even things up, then that's one thing. But I think to your point, he's not going to get there as a wild card, and he's a game too far back to make it work in the divisional. So,
that's a big assumption.
He was ready to pack it in last week. And last minute he said, fuck it, give me Devontae Adams, give me Chris Godwin, let's go.
It's a huge assumption, though, because you make the wild card. You play a team that has a few, week 14 buys, and all of a sudden you're into the next round because they just didn't put up the points they usually do.
Yeah, I think it's just, with Bengals and Browns, even if you make it out of the first round, eventually you're going to probably go up against one of them, and that's going to be tough.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get paid more per advance. We just get paid to make the playoffs and then win it.
Yeah, I think if he had gotten one more win in the doubleheaders, if he was sitting at 5-3 instead of 6-2, I think he'd still be trying to do something. But I think he's just a little too far away at this point. And that's why he's going to blow it up. But again, if he has been, if not as active as I have in looking for trades, maybe even more. So if he works the market and determines that truly nobody is interested in buying anything from him, despite, of course, Daniel Jones has a bit of a crash down to earth this week from his 3-0 start. If he works the market and can't move anything, he may shift again. Just play spoiler, because again, he doesn't control his first this year, and he's continuing to try and buy young pieces. So he may just say, "To hell with it." I'll either hold on to these receivers and let them score points until they're worth me moving in the off season, or he'll just kind of do whatever makes sense to him.
Yep.
Again, I think it's like his trade bait says, he's going to keep trading until he's satisfied.
Exactly. His record doesn't really matter to him right now. So.
So, yeah, the NFC is a cluster with the 4 teams. The AFC, nobody's out of it. Everyone plays each other. So, nothing's been decided. The only thing that's decided is there's going to be one team that looks like they're right in the thick of things that's going to fall flat. So, it probably is very much going to depend on who is active in making those trades to beef up before this end run here. So, it's time to get into the ring, guys, and time to do something with this. Go ahead and shift over to the trades. Any other points about kind of where people are sitting in divisional and kind of second half predictions before we move to the trades?
No.
It's going to be fun.
I think the only prediction that I would give is that Steelers will end up being at least second place in the North, if not first. So somehow this will transition to where he doesn't have to worry about the Week 14 bye week issue.
You think he's going to win the North?
Why not? Why not? Nothing. Never say never.
What kind of picks does he?
Just keep going.
Well, he does have all of his picks next year and a second this year, so he's got a little bit of ammo.
Well, good luck with that. I'm just talking about the whole Bengals and Browns. Bring them down.
All right, so we're going to go through this here. 18 trades since the pod last week. Not quite the 30 that we had the week before, but still very admirable showing from everybody here. Pats and Giants, Michael Mayer, Jalix Hunt, and Logan Wilson for Kayvon Thibodeau and Alex Austin. This was during the portion of the week where it looked like Pats was packing it in and building for next year. Singling up on Thibodeau. Giants wanted depth, sold Thibodeau to get depth. Mayer keeps getting targets in Vegas. They're not really productive targets, but he's getting them. Both Jalix and Kayvon have been hit or miss.
Looking at it, you think Pats wins, and then you realize the names involved and like their general points, and you're just like, meh.
Yeah. I mean, I like Jalix Hunt. I think he'll improve. But yeah, I think it's a good trade for Pats. As a previous Thibodeau owner, he's very up and down. So it is what it is.
All right. Broncos dumping a couple of contracts on the Colts. So it goes both ways with Broncos. Even he wants to make space sometimes. Pats moving off of Debo, Pickens, and Turner to get back the Rams 26 first. Won a Commanders 26 second, my 26 third, and his 27 second back.
That's a nice haul.
I think it's another good move for Pats. I think he got a little bit of an overpay for Kobe Turner. But I think it's a nice move for him.
How big is that contract once it gets extended?
With that Pro Bowl, it's got to be in the tens of millions.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a very, very, very crowded front seven of the Rams. For him to continue to put up points like he has is unlikely.
And Debo, another, fine player, but expensive. Like, that's just, the bulk of the value was in Pickens, so getting back a first plus, like, that's a win.
Yep. Thrash for Demarcus Robinson. Not much to see there.
Is Robinson coming off a suspension this week? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
He came up in week 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 1 catch last week. Yeah.
Yeah, but now you got Pearsall injured, I believe, but I think Purdy's injured too, so that's kind of a...
Yeah, Purdy's hurt, Pearsall's hurt, Kittle's hurt, Ayuk's still hurt. Basically everyone off.
Jawan Jones is also hurt.
Yeah, everyone's hurt but McCaffrey right now. So,
okay.
Good times. Pat's moving off the Chicago backfield for the Giants 27 first and the Seahawks 4th.
Yep.
This was an impressive pickup, Cowboys. You're 27 second and 26 4th from the Browns for Kenneth Gainwell. Very well timed considering the performance he had in Ireland.
Yeah, and I may have overpaid a little bit, but it did end up working out, at least for the first week. And even as the second string, he's been putting up 10, 12 points, which is what I need to complement Montgomery.
Well, look, as the new Caleb Johnson owner, we'll get to that in a second. I'll say, Gainwell is showing no signs of yielding that spot. I will give some credit to Bill, who just before week 1, it's like, hey, do you want to move? Do you want to swap, Barkley for CMC? And how about you throw in Kenneth Gainwell? He's probably nothing. He's not going to play for your team. Just throw him in there as a throw-in. So Bill somehow had some inside information. So fuck you, Bill.
Hey, you know what? And the crazy thing is, I slept in and didn't play him. So I still won the week, but I didn't play him.
And that's the big thing. Are you talking about Gainwell or no?
Gainwell, yeah.
Yeah, that's the big thing with those European games, last second Jalen Warren scratch at 6 a.m. and, well, you're not awake. Sorry.
Yep. But yeah, Gainwell will have maybe one more week where he's the lead guy if Warren can't come back after the bye for the Browns. But
Jalen Warren hasn't put up anything close to what Gainwell did when he was the full-time starter. So
no, he's just Jalen Warren. He's just a guy.
All
right. DeForest Buckner for Kenneth Murray and a third. Can I have a win-win?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for with Browns. He needed a linebacker. I needed a defensive tackle. DeForest Buckner, 3rd-round pick, probably makes up the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like D tackles maybe a little bit deeper than linebacker is, but completely reasonable considering the quality of player that Buckner is. So
yeah, I mean, he's had 2 19-point weeks and he doesn't have a sack yet. So
it's pretty impressive. I make a swap with Jags, Pacheco, and Ertz for Caleb Johnson and Amari Cooper. Not sure why he still had Cooper on his team, but he did. And Johnson, I think at some point is going to get an opportunity. My team is built to be better next year than it is this year. So makes sense for me. And then he gets to collect Chiefs and add a tight end in case Strange doesn't get the targets that he should. So win-win, and pick up Caleb Johnson. So
that was a curious one. I don't know if he was like trying to dump cap with someone who he could have just cut and posted in the retired page or what he was doing there, but
Jags doesn't pay enough attention. He doesn't understand the rules of the league.
Maybe that's the case, yeah. Because I mean, he had Amari Cooper all season, and he just needed to post in the retirement page and cut him, and there goes your cap. But
But even without Amari, Caleb for Pacheco and Ertz is still solid.
No, it's still definitely a good deal for him, and obviously no risk in taking on Cooper for Vikings. So
yeah, I mean, I already cut him and posted to the retirement page. So
yep,
we've got that cap back. So
Or another retired player for me to pick up.
What's that?
Another retired player for me to pick up.
Yeah. But Vikings managed to cut a lot of cap there with that trade. So,
yep. And I feel like Johnson's going to get a chance at some point. It's not always first time out of the run with the Steelers running backs anyway.
Oh, he'll play next year, but I think that fumble, that kickoff fumble, put him in the doghouse.
That was egregious. That was so bad, man.
Then I go back to back, moving James Pierce and giving Pats his 27 first back for Nick Bosa, the Commanders' second, my third, and the Seattle fourth. Bosa, of course, just tore his ACL, out for the year. Pierce seems to be picking up snaps in Atlanta, who seems to have a bit of a pass rush, but hasn't quite converted that to much of a showing yet. But again, he gets control of his 27 first back after getting his 27 second back in a previous trade. So,
this feels so cheap for Bosa. even if he's hurt, this feels so cheap.
Yeah, it was a curious series of Nick Bosa trades by Patriots. I think he traded Myles Garrett to you, Commanders, for Nick Bosa straight up, and then trades Nick Bosa for, I don't know.
I mean, Pierce was a first round pick this past year.
But I mean, did he have to add a second in there?
Yeah, I think my biggest issue was the 2-3-4 being added. I think Pierce and a 1 for Bosa was about where I would have been.
Yeah.
It's just so cheap. Mike's going to destroy the NFC next year.
If he decides to actually compete.
It's always a tough decision for me. But yeah, I figured, he wants to get his picks back for 27. He's got a young team and wants control to be able to build. And then immediately trades his 27 seconds for Chris Jenkins. So.
Yeah, I mean, what did Chris Jenkins do last year? 74 points. I mean, at least he's young.
Yep.
Oh, well, let's continue on the path of trades.
Yep. We've got the Falcons moving some defense to the Cardinals for Mitch Trubisky, Bud Dupree, Marlon Humphrey, Keon Martin, and a third.
Not 100% sure what to make of this.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I offered for Levante David a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if I revoked or it got declined or what because of $30 million 1-year contract. Wow.
He was
That's a lot of
tagged
defense
last year,
for a
wasn't
third.
he? Yeah.
This is a trade where I'm just like, I'm not sure why this trade was made, but I mean, on either side, I don't really know.
The funny thing about this, though, is as all of us are sitting here dumbfounded, like, wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot of defense for a third. Those three players didn't combine to score 10 points last week. So it's 1 week, I got it. But Marlon Humphrey is doubtful. I thought he was going to miss a couple of weeks here. But again, like we would have to be trade extended if he was going to be anything. So it's kind of all of this for the third. Like, I don't know. Like on the surface, I don't know, but
Are you
nice
even paying a third for Levante David and Von Miller?
Are you paying a third? Are you getting a third? Like which?
No, I don't know. Who's excited for $36 million worth of guys that are equal to what, 71 years old? No.
I mean, it works for both sides. Falcons is desperate for picks and assets, considering he had to throw so much at Jaden Daniels. Cardinals needs a defense by any means necessary, but doesn't want to give up any of his young offensive pieces that he's racked up to do so. So it's a win-win for everybody, but at the same time, everyone just kind of puts their hand over their mouth and says, just I don't know which side
All I can say is thank you to both of the teams that participated, because then we got 3.5 minutes on the podcast where all of us were dumbfounded, and that's good and that's entertaining.
Absolutely.
Certainly good content. Yes.
So yeah, as mentioned, Pat's consolidated his first and second back for next year, and then promptly traded it for Chris Jenkins, Javonte Williams, and Greg Newsome. Williams has been more than solid as a lead back for Dallas, and look, I mean, 4 straight weeks at double-digit points. I think he's probably like an RB5 at this point. So if he hasn't already tried to trade extend Williams, he should have. Or
I think that was the most curious thing to me is he didn't. I don't think he posted the trade extension for Javonte Williams. I think you've got 24 hours to post that.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I guess I'm going to go double check the.
That was the most curious thing for me because
I don't think he posted that. Is this still his rookie No, this isn't his rookie contract.
It's his 5th year.
Oh, it's his 5th year option. So, yeah, they already exercised the 5th year option, so he would have needed to. Well, he could still re-sign him, I guess, with one of his.
No, that's a tag him.
He can tag him.
Oh.
I mean, I think that's probably the smart thing to do. Like, do you really want to give Javonte Williams a long-term deal, or would you rather just tag him for?
He could tag him. It's not.
Years?
How much more is it going to be if he tags him than $15 million?
A lot.
At this point, if he's selling, I'd move him for essentially what he bought him for.
Yeah.
Let's see. So player stats.
He'd be whatever Montgomery costs plus a little bit, probably.
So Monty's about $20 million.
So last year, Javonte Williams was. Let's see, I can this up. No, not Kyron Williams. Javonte Williams was running back 34 in. Oh, that's overall points. What about points per game? Okay, I hate my laptop sometimes. 43. So I think that means that probably be, I think, a null set. I don't think he's necessarily getting more expensive than the 15 million for maybe a 1 or 2 year extension. That's not terrible.
That's what I mean. I didn't think it would be too much more than.
So bylaws, just finishing up the closing the loop on this. 2 more years. So let's see. Running back 42 would be a -8. If they add 3 years, it'd be a -3. If they add 1 or 2 years, and then a +5. So it'd be a 2% increase if it was just a 1 or 2 year, or a 3% decrease if they added 3 or more years. So 15 million, call it to 17 million probably. Yeah, still a valuable piece. I mean, as we said, he's not done trading, and that's worth something. And then goes and buys Devontae Adams and Chris Godwin from the Falcons for Keandre Lambert-Smith, the Rams first and the Giants first. So nice win for the Falcons to get first for those 2 receivers.
This one is, I mean, I know it's later in the season now, but no one would give me a first for Devontae Adams when I had him. And isn't this what we figured he would do with Matt Stafford?
I mean, he's not lighting it up production-wise as far as fantasy points goes. He's better at IRL than he is in GMs.
I mean, it's very consistent, though, so far. It's 22, it's 16, it's 15, it's 3 touchdowns. He gets a lot of targets.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be frank. If you're going to get a first for Devontae Adams, it's going to be your 27. It's going to be the Commanders 27 first. It's going to be the Giants 27 first. It's going to be the Bengals 27 first.
Right.
It's going to be a year in the future for a team that's very well set up to be a contender in that future.
Yeah.
And we all know that 27 firsts are basically 27 thirds.
I will smack you right off this podcast.
Oh, come on now.
No, but in all seriousness, if I break it down like that, now, do I think a 26 first for the Rams, who look like they're ducking out of the playoffs, is probably a little bit rich for Godwin, considering where things are going there? Maybe, but he's only 29 years old. Evans is hurt this year, and Ekbuka is already starting to break out. McMillan's not back yet. Likely a couple of years with Godwin before it's time to hang it up, and he's only, he's less than 10 million this year. So probably a little bit on the expensive side. But again, I can see it, but I think it's really Falcons is very happy to get his 2 firsts for those 2 receivers.
Oh, certainly.
Chargers swapping Barmore for Nnamdi Madubuike, who is out for the year with a neck injury. The Giants swapping the guy who's out for the year for an equivalent point scorer, win-win for both teams. Miles Sanders getting consolidated with Javonte for a Commanders 26 third. And that took us through the games last week. Obviously, people are still trying to make some maneuvers so far this week, but Bengals and I jump out. We've been dancing around this for a couple of weeks since Burrow went down, but finally we just ended up on something that worked. Tua, Tet, Ezerike, and the 49ers 26 first for Browning, Burrow, Ayuk, Josh Palmer, and Elias Pebbles. Yeah, I think a lot of people are really liking what the Bengals get out of this.
Yes.
I continue to consolidate into some pieces that I think are going to do well for me next year. And yeah, who knows what what the difference is for Ayuk and Ted is when I actually need the points to start getting scored. So
Yeah, if Tua and Tet pick it up, and even if Ezraku starts getting some sacks, you may have just handed Bengals another championship.
Yeah, so what? I like the Vikings said better. I'll take Burrow over Tua any day. I'll take Ayuk over Tet. I'll take Josh Palmer over the rest.
Josh Palmer, why does everybody like him?
He's incredibly underrated.
He has 10 catches for 138 yards.
He signed with the wrong team, but he's still incredibly underrated.
Last year he had 107 points.
I mean, dude, he was wide receiver 2 in LA for a long time.
I don't know.
Like a lot of the Buffalo wide receivers, he passes the eye test. They're just not utilizing any of them right now.
Based on a career trajectory, he's on a trajectory of Darius Slayton, and Darius Slayton so far has had a better first 4 seasons than him.
Yeah, I think that's a completely reasonable projection for him. I think really the way I value him is kind of that wide receiver 4 that is going to pop in with a double-digit week every once in a while. But I mean, the way they set up the receivers for Josh Allen is you got a guy like Coleman who's going to win your jump balls. You got a guy like Shakir who's going to win the dirty balls. And you've got Palmer who is going to pop one every once in a while. So he's only going to score for me probably 4 or 5 times in a season. But when he does, it's going to be very useful. And considering I got Rice injured, I got Rice suspended, I got Ayuk injured, and a couple of others, he's useful for me for now. And we'll see if he hangs on in Buffalo or goes elsewhere.
Right.
But yeah, it's the Ezeruke was definitely a tough one to pass on for me. I really like him as an edge rusher, and he's starting to emerge and pick up more and more snaps. In Dallas, got his first double-digit game in terms of points this week. So, like you said, very well could have handed the division or the second title to Bengals. He adds another young receiver to JSN. And the rest of his team, he's got Bijan obviously still there. Again, you got to pick the right time with Tua. And the last 2 weeks have been okay. The previous 2 weeks were pretty terrible. So, does this version of Tua run out as far as he needs it to? That being said, Dylan Gabriel's now starting. So he's got Dylan Gabriel and Tua Tagovailoa as his quarterbacks. He also has the 49ers first-round pick to go shopping for something to sort of fill in the gaps here. So he's not completely up Schitt's Creek if you wanted to go buy another quarterback with that pick. But that is a risky combination to go into the playoffs with. So I think he's not done in his quarterback room, considering what he's buying and where he's trying to go with his team.
Yep.
Then Grady Jarrett for a third. Falcons got him at auction, I think, a couple of years back. But he's aging. Saints needs a defensive tackle. Giants 27th third-round pick. Price is right. Everybody wins. But hey, the Bengals are saying I'm only a game up over the Browns. I want to solidify my hold on the North. Let me go buy some shit to make sure I can do so. And makes a big boy trade. So I'm excited to see if we get a few more big boy trades in the next couple of days here as we position for the stretch run. I think we've got 1 or 2 weeks before trade deadline, so it's not anything imminent, but this is going to matter. I think we saw in the NFC there's probably about 4 or 5 games coming up that are probably going to decide how the wild cards finish. We'll have the second round of divisional matchups for these closer divisions, and that'll be that. But it's fun. At least 8 teams competitive in each division, and I think there's a dark horse in each division that could sneak in and make this a little bit more fun. But we'll see if they decide to stay in the race.
Are you saying I have a chance?
No.
Oh.
If you somehow manage to move your 100 picks, maybe.
I have plans.
He will. I mean, he'll go shopping this off season. He's got to be patient about it, because that was the thing. Like, this was the week where it's like I'd say this week is probably the bottom of the pick valuation for next year. That we're not far enough into the college football season where everyone's like, "Oh my God, this guy's going to be available! I can't wait." Like, it's only the diehards that are already starting to think about the draft and what that means for fantasy or dynasty leagues right now. People are in the middle of the seasons and looking to ramp up and stock up for potential playoff run or more. So I think if you're going to acquire picks, this is probably the time to do it if you haven't already started. But that being said, from here, the hype's just going to start going up on some of these players, and we're going to start talking about the Heisman and the playoffs and everything like that, and you're going to start to see people emerge and Mel Kiper start to show up on screens again. All right. Any parting thoughts before we move on to the post-show fun?
No.
No, I enjoyed this one.
RJ, I think you've said less than 10 words this one. So
I haven't even heard him at all. Like, maybe one time.
I did. It's been so fun hearing everybody else's opinions. I definitely intentionally took a backseat on this, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
And I appreciate that. I like when we've got the 4 of the 5ers on there, because I still do way too much talking, which is, I guess, a problem I have. I got to think about that. I'll take a hard look at myself on that one. But getting some more opinions and getting some differing opinions so that it's not an echo chamber on this stuff. That's what makes the podcast fun. That's what makes the league fun, and keeps it fresh. So, Cowboys, I know you're not one of the ones normally in rotation. Usually we get you 2 or 3 times at most in a year. So appreciate you making it on this one. Maybe it's for ulterior motives to try and start picking off some players as you start pushing in for a wild card run and going from 4th place in the NFC East to 1st place, or challenging the Commanders and at least the Giants. That's what we all want. We really need you to get in front of the Giants. Let's get off the podcast and start figuring out how to get you ahead of the Giants.
I don't charge much of an in-division tax.
Yeah. Post-pod trades are where it's at.
All right.